All right. So invest. So invest principle is basically a mnemonic which helps us to remember whether our user stories are ready or not. Being a product backlog item, what should be the criteria to have a story to be ready to taken into refinement sessions and into the sprint backlog? So to before discussing these criterias, let us go through quickly over the user story. So user story. Whenever there is any project who is like transitioning from waterfall to agile, user story, though it seems to be a very simple thing, people mostly struggle to understand what exactly how the user stories needs to be written. They many a times confuse the user stories with business requirement, but there is a difference between business requirements which used to be present as a low level documents or high level documents in waterfall, and the user stories which are present in backlog in agile. So what is the difference? In the era of waterfall, in the low level documents, each and every detail of requirement was being captured. An entire document, a huge document from the start to end of the product was being prepared beforehand, and there would hardly be any changes as the project starts. So the team who is working on that product would hardly get any in any get into any discussion if they ran into any problems, because everything was all what do you say, everything was all laid out already. Only implementation was given to the team. Then what is user story? User story is not just the low level document. When the low level document talks about how to implement the product, user story talks about what to implement, why to implement, but not how to implement. User story typically consists of as user, as a as a particular role in the product. What is the goal we want to achieve? So that it means it answers the reason of like why, what benefit will be achieved by implementing that user story, and how to implement that is an open question. This is an negotiable aspect of user story which can be discussed, and which is always discussed in the backlog refinement meetings. And that is how the user story is different from the requirement, because requirement mostly talks about how, and user story talks about who, what, and why. So this is the major difference, and it always comes with a clear cut acceptance test criteria. Then if everything is so clear and so simple, then why do we struggle in getting the requirements in product backlog? When the requirements are being like transferred into product backlog items, team generally struggle to uh, to have them in a proper format. So we will discuss what are few agreements which we can implement. Before moving on to that, a user story should be like a slice of cake. If we take a slice of cake, we get all the layers of that cake. If you think of slicing a cake just on the top, then you would just be able to taste the top layer of it. That would happen if you develop a requirement into different components and try to integrate them in the end. and you might get into the integration level issues very late in the sprint. Sorry, very late in the product development, which would happen in waterfall model of product development. So that's why the user stories, why it is different from the regular requirement is that it consists of small chunks of all the integrations which are available, which needs to be done in the product. And one more advantage of that is you can have the partial releases as well, because at the end of every iteration you have a small piece, but it is a fully functional piece. So now, because we talked about what is user story, sounds simple, but many a times we face the challenges about whether the user story is ready to be taken into a sprint. So what is so Invest Mnemonic, basically it helps us to remember what is the requirement, what is an agreement. It is an agreement, it is not a formal contract, or it is not any kind of a gate which needs to be passed, but it's a formal contract where team agrees that if you have certain things, if you have the acceptance criteria ready, then only we can take that user story in the sprint. And believe me on this, this is a very good trade-off between minimizing the risk and getting the team started on a correct note. And also, if we have the user story ready with the invest criteria, believe me, it increases the speed of execution by 2 times, and the team will be more productive than chasing for the correct requirement and stumbling in between and going back and forward, and wasting their time in doing rework if the requirements are not well set in form of user stories. So what is invest principle? Invest, I stands for independent. So what it says is that, as we said, that the user story is like a slice of cake. It has end-to-end flow of a particular product, but at the same time we need to make sure that it is not interlinked. The two stories should be independent, they should not be dependent on each other as much as possible. There can be some situations, there can be some 10% of situations where user stories will be dependent on each other. If we keep that 10% aside, rest of the 90% of stories should be independent. Why? For the simple reason, team members can work on it independently. That is number one. Secondly, it helps us in prioritization. Being a product owner, they can change the priority depending on the business requirement at any time if the user stories are independent. I hope this makes sense to you, being the story being independent. Negotiable.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you. So negotiable, like as we were talking about difference between a user story and a requirement in low level requirement, basically. So what was the difference at that time? In that low level requirement, in waterfall method, the requirements were notable. Everything was already laid down in high level requirements, in low level requirements. Team had no say when it comes to requirements. But here, the user story is negotiable till the time it gets into backlog. Till the time user story is in the product backlog, it should be negotiable. Negotiable in the sense, there has to be it should be a conversation starter. Like I will give you an example. Like if we have an application, some application where, for example, of online food ordering application like Zomato, for example. So if the requirement is given that please enter zip code in order to find the nearest like Italian restaurants, then there we are it's a fixed requirement that we have to enter zip code or the pin code in order to find the Italian restaurants near us. Okay, if the requirement is being given in a way that we need to enter a criteria which will help us to find nearest restaurants, then what happens is that team and the product owner can have conversation in the backlog refinement meetings to find out what criteria is best suitable for from the technical aspect and from the business aspect. So there is a scope of certain negotiation. Like what happens, I work in the Pega projects. Pega is a case management system. So here what happens is that there we need the technical team needs to do certain configurations in order to achieve the requirement. If the requirement once the we get any user stories, at that time it might happen that because of technical issues it cannot be achieved. If the user story is negotiable, if we have backlog refinement sessions where if it is an if we have the conversation, if the user story allows you to have conversation, then a common point can be met between the business and the technical team, and it will help to produce a better product which will be more valuable to business, as well as it will be more maintainable by technical team as well. It took me like a lot to understand the negotiable aspect of the user story, but now I understand it. Like looking at the and the reading by reading the definition of it, it was difficult for me to understand earlier, but now as I'm going through more and more projects, now I understand what the negotiable aspect of user story is. Valuable. So there are two types of user stories. One are technical user stories which do not produce any visible results on the screen, and the other stories are the business user stories which produce the valuable results to business, so that at the end of their execution we have an increment in the product. So as much as possible user stories should be valuable. Having the user stories valuable is very important, because at the end of sprint demos, when the business stakeholder join your meeting, demo meeting, they should be able to find the value in your deliverable. If they lose value in it, then they will start losing the interest, and they might not be able to give any feedback. So if we make sure that our user stories contains the business value, then it will be more appealing to business stakeholders who are watching your demonstration, your sprint and demo, and they will be able to give you more feedback. If your user story are like too technical, and if they do not produce any end results, or if they do not have any closure for sprints after sprint, then even the business stakeholders start losing their interest in it. But then how to make sure that our user stories should be valuable? They should be small enough. that is it comes after E, but we'll talk more about them. So if the user stories are small, they produce more value. And let's talk about E first before going into S and T. So what is estimable? Estimable means it should be of a correct size. The user story should not contain too many features or too many items all clogged into each other. Being estimable has got to do with being independent as well. If the stories are independent, then they are more estimable as well. If the stories are more interlinked with each other, then their estimation becomes difficult. Having a correct size, correct estimate help customer to prioritize. If we are close to release and we have certain product backlog, uh, uh, release product backlog remaining, depending upon the size of the user stories, product owner can decide or the business can decide which features can go immediately into the release. So having the stories estimable is very important, but for the stories to be estimable, it needs to have correct details. It needs to have correct acceptance criteria, which can help team to estimate the user story. Then small. So user story should be small in order to fit into an iteration. It has to do with being valuable as well. The more the story is small, the more value it will produce. Because if the user story is small, it will be very easy to see the value, incremental value which it produces from that user story. And again, testable. Being testable is extremely important, because whatever development we do, if it cannot be tested, then we cannot call it as an increment in product. If we say that the coffee needs to be hot, this is a vague requirement. We do not know how hot it should be. If we say that the temperature of coffee should be from 65 degrees to 85 degrees, yes, then that requirement is tested. So having a proper acceptance test criteria is very important. And following the invest principles, it is the team's responsibility to follow to make sure that the requirements are being written according to the invest principle. I will share an example of my team with you. We started with a project where our acceptance test criteria was not getting written very well. After reminding lot of times, it was still not getting written standards. Then what team decided is that we will not estimate that user story unless we have a proper acceptance criteria. So we might think that if the user stories in a proper format is only about the product, businesses, or about the business, what does the team has to do with it? Has got a lot to do with the team. And as a scrum master, we need to take stand that we need to follow invest principles before taking the user story to market. And it saves a lot of time, and team can concentrate on developing, testing, and producing a working product at the end of every iteration. I will give you a real life example. We all must have seen these master chef shows, right? In
Yeah.
that chef has everything on, all the ingredients are kept on the table, everything is properly measured, all the are in the proper proper place. Why? Because having a good start is a key to the proper success. A lot of weightage is given for the definition of done, but believe me friends, definition of ready is as equally important than definition of done. And as I said, there is, if the definition of done is not met, uh, user story is not allowed to get promoted into the testing environment, but there is no written contract or criteria for definition of ready. As a team, uh, we need to ask for an other to definition of ready in order to produce better results. I was working as a master for two different projects simultaneously once. At that time, one product backlog used to be uh, always up to the date. All the user stories will be present in that small pieces of user stories, and the product owner or the business analyst would spend lot of time with team in refining that product backlog, having lot of negotiations, and to make sure that the user stories are rightly estimated before starting of the sprint. And in the other sprint, the product owner was not keeping the product backlog ready, and the stories were not even written. The stories were mostly the epics. The acceptance criteria never used to be written. The performance of both teams was very different. I hope you can relate to what I'm talking. So having a we cannot change our BAs, but again, we can ask them to adhere to the invest criteria. I hope this will help you as well as your team in order to get a good start for a sprint. And thank you. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, please ask.
Any example of valuable story, and how do you compare it with the non-valuable story? Any example?
Yeah, so I will not give you the examples, some fake examples which we are not even
Okay.
able to do, because
Yeah.
the first time when I gave presentation on invest principle, at
Yeah.
that time I would give all those examples, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
had learned them. But now
Yeah.
after using all these principles in my real life, now I understand
Mm-hmm.
what is the uh, what is the meaning of the valuable user story. So what happens, I'll give an example of the case management system. We work for bank and we have a case
Mm-hmm.
management system. So what adds value? Okay, so we have, most of the time we have modernization projects in banks. Like in banks, they used to have a lot of like mainframe systems and all, and now they are switching to the modern UI and modern technology. So what is mean by valuable? So whenever I am into discussions with product owners, that time
Mm-hmm.
what I hear from them is that review checkbox should be, it should not be hidden somewhere, because while they are doing the audit, they need to make sure that they are reviewing, because most
Mm-hmm.
of the time people working as a tailors or in the branch, they are like old people. So what adds value to them is that having it in a proper location which is accessible. So having the so now have you heard of accessibility criteria, Vijay, or everyone? These days there is a lot of focus on the accessibility criteria, that uh, adhering to the accessibility requirements, adhering to accessibility criteria adds a lot of value.
Yeah.
Again, having value means, I have given one more example, like if we have if a customer walks into a branch and he wants to see his savings, he wants to see all his, he wants to get a record of all his investments, okay. So what is valuable is that how do we slice that user story in order that after 15 days we should be able to produce some result. Like for example,
Yeah.
okay, we might not be able to produce all the results, but at least we are producing the results of banking, a savings account. In the next iteration, we take the entire, what do you say, checking accounts. Then maybe in the next iteration, we are going for mutual funds, like that. If we take the user stories, like just painting the entire UI first, and then the user story of having entire database transaction, And then there is a user story. Again, user stories. There is no doubt in that, and nobody can even
Yeah.
argue on it. Why this cannot be user story? But think about, while the business stakeholders who are attending your demo, think from their point of view, and more than thinking, ask them if this adds any value to you, and we can take their suggestions as well. So it is a combined, adding value to user story is a combined effort by product owners, business analysts, as well as team.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. And
Hey
just a
Vijay,
question. Yeah. Hey, hi.
hey Vijay, Nikhil here. So can I just
Hey,
share my
Harsha.
understanding of valuable? Can you
Yeah,
Yes,
hear
yeah,
me?
please.
please.
Yep. Sure. So basically, like as Harsha mentioned correctly, right? You have a
Yeah.
stories which are like only database related or only the UI related, right? So even if you done the database story, right, it is not giving any value to the customer, right? It will give only value when the UI and database is integrated, and then as a
Hmm.
function, it is delivered to the production. So I mean, like though the creating a database has some technical value, but it doesn't have the business value. So that is a difference
Hmm.
of, I mean, like that is my understanding of not
That is
non-tech
absolutely
value or story and the valued story.
Yeah. Absolutely. For the user,
Yeah. So if we
not for the
think from
development team.
a, yeah, if you think from the vertical
Yeah.
slice, then you are delivering the value. If you are just looking for horizontal slice, then you are not delivering the value.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it will happen that 10% or 10 or 20% of backlog will be like purely technical. It is impossible to get any value for the stakeholders out of it. But that
Hmm.
is the truth of it. I mean, that, but we have to do what we have to do. Like there are some low
Yeah.
level integrations, opening of the ports and configuring them. But that is fine. But invest just a guideline that as much as possible try to design a user story like a slice of cake.
Okay, Harsha,
Again,
Joseph
as we
here.
say that agile is all about inspect and adapt. So there are no hard and fast rules. It's all like whenever we have any problems, we look for the solutions as a team and try to make our lives better.
I want to highlight the one very important thing. There is one role that is missing in the Indian context, and that role is of the UR,
Yeah.
the user researcher. India simply does not have user researchers. And user researchers are very difficult to find even in the Western world. So it's not just India has a problem, the problem is universal.
Yeah.
If we had a user researcher, then the user researcher would actually have gone in, talked to the, like the example which she gave about the customer, the
Yeah.
customer of the bank. A user researcher would actually go and have a chat with that customer, have a chat with that. Hey, what the hell are you looking for?
Yeah.
What are you looking for? What do you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And from that, try and figure out, okay, this is what he's looking for. The examples which he gave, he's looking for his savings account, he's looking for his checking account, he's looking for his mutual fund, he's da whatever. Yeah. And then translate the user researcher. I'll tell you how it works here. I mean, obviously, uh, apologies. Most of you don't may not know. Vijay does know. I live in the UK, so the example I will give is from the UK. The way it works here is that the user researcher actually does this study. He actually goes and talks to users. He goes and talks to the various users, tries and figure out what the hell are they looking for? What do they want? When they come to the website, what exactly are they looking for? What exactly do they want? So the examples which Harsha gave, hey, I'm looking for my savings account balance, I'm looking for a checking account, I'm looking for whatever. He finds that out. And when he finds that out, the first person he goes to is the architect. And he goes to the architect and says, look, this is what the users want. Is this even possible? Is our infrastructure ready to deliver this? Do we have the servers or the platform or the technology and da 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 da? Is it even there? because if it's not there, we can't do it.
Yeah.
So the architect says, okay, well, you brought 10 things to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are possible. 8, 9, and 10 we'll have to think about because we don't have the infrastructure. We don't, our servers can't handle it. Not today.
Mhm.
So then the user reaches, fine. Out of these 10 things which I found out, you think that 7 are deliverable. Our servers, our infrastructure, at least 7 we can do. So the architect says, yeah, 7, I can do, no problems. I'm not saying we can't do the other 3, but we can't do it tomorrow morning. We can do it maybe 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, because I need to add another server. I need to add, a certain patch. My Java stack is missing so and so. He'll have all his technical reasons for why he can't do it tomorrow. He can do it, but yes, he can do it 3 months down the line. He can't do it 6 months down the line, right? So then the user researcher goes to the BA. And he goes to the BA and says, look, these are the 10 things I've discovered. These are the 10 things that the user is looking for. These are the 10 things we need to deliver. And the architect tells me that out of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we can deliver. Our infrastructure, our servers, our technology stack, is capable of delivering at least 7 of these. Now you, BA, sit down and figure out how can we do this? How can we, deliver these 7 things out of the 10? Don't forget the other 3. We have to deliver them 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, but they're not tomorrow morning. But let us talk about 1 to 7. How can we do that? So then the BA sits down and he produces what we used to say in the, old Prince to Waterfall days, the SRS document,
Yeah.
right? But of course, he doesn't do an SRS document in an agile world. There is no such thing as SRS document. But
we still have SRS in agile world.
Yeah.
I have seen it.
Yeah. So he produces that, and then he goes and sits down with the product owner, and he tells the product owner, look, these are the 10 things the UR guy has discovered. And the architect tells me that 7 of these are possible. Yeah. What can we do about it? And then the product owner takes over and he says, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's consider this. And then, of course, then it goes back into the agile system that he will prioritize out of these 7, what is the priority number 1, what is the priority number 2, and so on and so on. And then the product owner with the BA starts writing the user stories for those 7 items, which they think that, yes, these can be delivered. We have the capability, we have the infrastructure, we have the technology stack, whatever. We can do this. We don't have to wait. Yes, those 3 items are in the background. They do need to be delivered, but not tomorrow morning, 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line. We'll think about that later. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is something we can consider today. Now let's prioritize that. What is the most important? Number 1 for the user, and of course, for the business as well. It must add value to the business. And then, of course, then the whole process starts. They start writing the user stories, and they will refine it and break it down into tasks. And I'm not going to the whole rest of it. But that is how it functions here. And that is how I feel it needs to function in India as well. We have absolutely ignored the user researcher role. And I think that's a very important role, because that is the guy who actually hell does the user want. It's not important what you think. It's not important what I think. What does the user want? When he comes to my website, he comes to my portal, what is he expecting? What does he want? And unless we can identify that, and unless we can figure that out, whatever we're doing, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But even today, if we actually see, I was we used to call it discovery engineer earlier. And I was also a discovery engineer for one of the banks in UK. However, we were operating from India, but I was a discovery engineer in the sense I was the person who used to talk to users and understand their requirement and write in them in their own words. However, that time there was no format like user story, but yes, as a user somewhere I used to say, write that this is what he wants or this is what she wants and what was the intention. However, it was wrapped in so many words. And yes, as you said, we used to write SRS
Yeah.
that time.
But
However,
in
yeah,
other words, you were doing the UR role. You were doing the user
yeah,
researcher role. Absolutely.
yes, the UR as a personification. So personification, generally what we do is we look at the extreme ends sometimes of any functionality that is being used. For an example, if you are a cab aggregator and you are creating software for say sharing as a functionality, two or three people can share one cab. In that case, you will see for one person who is absolutely lanky, say about 50 kg of the weight, and can fit in, you can fit four those lanky people like that in that car. However, there might be another extreme personality who's say roughly around 180 kg, and you can just fit maximum two people in that car. So if those kind of personas come, they are using the same functionality, what would happen to your system? So in that case, your extreme checks, maybe sometimes also middle checks, so two to three different personalities who are users of your system, you will check how the functionality would behave. However, what Sid and we were speaking about the user research, yeah, that time we were not really looking at extreme personalities or per se. We were generalized requirement for a banking perspective. We were never really looking at what kind of ethnicity a person comes out with or what kind of test a person comes out with. So we are not really doing that. I never done it before. However, these days we how we perform critical path in
Yes. So,
agile way, where two or more user stories are interdependent. If one is not done, the other part cannot start.
yeah. So yes, Dhruva, of course, that happens. We cannot have all the stories independent. There will always be some 10% of stories. Like for example, unless you have integration with database, how could we retrieve the information of a person or of a basically which we are trying to search for? So yes, there will always be some critical, as you are saying, will be dependent, but we should try to minimize that dependency as much as
Okay.
possible.
Yeah,
And there's one more way that the critical user stories should be, it should not happen that, two stories, if they are connected to each other, one story lies here in the product backlog and other lies in the bottom of it. If they're dependent on each other, it makes sense to, prioritize them in a way that, they can, those stories can be completed
yeah.
or taken to in the same or in the consecutive sprints maybe.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think there is also, I mean, I would like to connect to what Sid said earlier. Sid said about the user research, what a user wants to do. So in that case, user wants to do so many things. He might be able to do so many things in sequence. One thing done, then later thing done. So there is a sequence of things. Like for an example, a user comes to banking, this thing he would like to log in to the system. That's the first action that he takes, and then later on other things happens later. Does that mean after the logging there is something coming up? Is that a dependent story? You can maybe test that story even without logging,
Yeah.
right? If you want to fetch certain data from your database and then show it on the display,
Yeah.
login is the first functionality, but it is still not dependent, right? So that kind of interdependence, I think Harsha was saying, right?
Yeah, like what we do
Yeah,
is that, we create some kind of a SOAP device where we push the data and then show it on the screen. That way we try to
yeah,
minimize that dependency or to overcome that dependency. And yeah, integrations, the sooner we do it, sooner we uncover the problems, and it's better for the product.